Hello, everybody, and welcome to EncounterRoleplay. Look how small my cubes are. Welcome. My name is Will. I'm a D&D sex icon, and I'm back with yet another episode 2, in fact, of Warhammer Beneath Dark Boughs. I've got a full cast and crew with me. Someone else speak before I fucking die. Jim Davis, our Dungeon Master tonight. Jim, how you doing?
I'm great. Oh, I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure to game with you, Will, and I am excited to see what's going to happen as you guys head into the Great Forest for the backwoods of Talabheim land. Very excited to see that. Yeah, it's Wednesday gaming time.
Absolutely. We also have with us tonight, once again, Jonathan Pruitt. Pruitt, how you doing, my friend?
I'm still doing good, sir. Things are great. We're into session number 2 of my 9-hour stretch, and couldn't feel better. Can't wait to bring about the second session with Aleras bow singer, elven scout, a little bit displaced out of her lands. But she keeps a low profile and has served Matthias well. So hopefully that partnership can continue.
Absolutely. Great stuff. And we also have with us Frost from Fire. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Frantically trying to find the mute button. I'm good. I'm good. I'm super excited to dive back into this dark world and see where chat takes us to. Because last week they came up with something really awesome and gruesome for us to find after we were done banning people. So I'm really excited to get going.
Absolutely. Great stuff. We also have with us Alice tonight. Alice, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Bit the same as Frost from Fire. Like after last week, I've been looking forward to this all week and seeing how Nora progresses in this very, very dark world where everything seems to accelerate very, very quickly. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And last but not least, we have with us Gareth. Gareth, how you doing?
I'm not sure I like this new catchphrase. I think we need to find something better. Yeah, I'm good.
I've got an inventive mind, my friend. Just give me 10 minutes and I can go up something else.
Yeah, it's going to be way worse. At least it's not that I'm never convicted like you used to do before. Anyway, yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit tired. 3 hours of streaming. This is going to be pretty tricky today. So I think I'll fight my way through.
3 hours, that sounds really tough. I don't know how you do that.
It's going to be pretty difficult.
Wow, you're really dedicated.
Thank you. It's nice to get the recognition.
As myself, I will be playing Matthias Hurst, the vampire hunter who is leading this little cell to victory upon victory as we burn more and more heretics along the way. There will be many more, and there is a reckoning coming, my friends, because some of our own have been killed, and this is something that Matthias cannot and will not stand for. So I'm excited to get to play back with this group again. I've been thinking about this all week and been geeking out in the group chats about it, so I've been telling Sydney all about it. I've been just talking for hours about my games, and she's like, and I'm like, no, listen. It's Warhammer. So I'm excited today. Let's get into it. But before we do, I'll remind you guys we are sponsored by Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. So you can go over on the fantasygrounds.com. You can try it out for free. You can test it out on the demo versions, and you can get different licenses to play a variety of different systems and games. They've got like 60-day refunds on there. So if you buy it, you don't like it, you get a free refund. So there you go. Also, we're sponsored by dndice.co.uk. Go over their site, save yourself 5% on all of their beautiful, sexy metal and plastic dice trays, and all that good shit over there. Use the coupon code EncounterRoleplay when you do so, and you'll save yourself 5%. And of course, Wayland Games are our miniatures sponsors. 20% off our IP over there. They sell Warhammer models for this game. They sell Warhammer 40k models. They sell D&D minis, D&D maps, and all that good stuff. So check it out. Enjoy it. And before we dive in, I'll quickly remind you guys as well, you can interact with tonight's show. If you haven't followed the show yet, hit the follow button and join us. 20 followers is a viewer decision. In fact, I think we hit 20. So we're pretty on for 30 for this one. And of course, the 20 retweet mark will also indicate another viewer decision for you guys to help us out or screw up the party as you so desire. And last but not least, you can donate to affect the game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and all sorts of horrible, horrible things that can happen in the world of Warhammer that may or may not be Warpstone related. So enjoy yourselves, my friends. Settle in for a night of Warhammer grimdark fantasy action, and I'll hand over to our Dungeon Master, Jim Davis, to take us into episode 2 of Beneath Dark Boughs.
Excellent, excellent. Professional and superb as always, Will. We are headed underneath these dark boughs, the dark boughs of the great forest. Our party of witch hunters and ne'er-do-wells and those with a stalwart heart are 3 days into a 10-day journey to the village of Obelheim, where they are investigating several missing dwarves and a complaint lodged by a priestess of Verena. The party has just come across and dealt with the remains of 3 crucified Templars, their bodies nailed to a tree and suffering no other wounds. They were left exposed to the freezing nights of early spring. They died there on that tree, and the party took them down, and the priest of Tal, the god of nature and wild places and of beasts, put them to burial so that they would not rise as the hungry dead. And so it is later that day, as the carriage that the party shares continues its way south along the old forest road. Burkhard, the priest, has a troubled look on his face and seems to be avoiding Matthias's gaze for a great portion of the trip after he dealt with the bodies.
Okay. You say the priest has been avoiding my gaze?
Yeah, he seemed just uncomfortable, silent. I mean, he made small talk before then, was pleasant enough, but afterwards seems deeply troubled by what he witnessed.
Burkhard Heide, that's his name. Okay, I will look over to him as we're in our little carriage and say, Burkhard, what ails you? You seem troubled.
He turns his gaze from out the window, looking at the forest as it passes by, and looks in Matthias's direction. I'm troubled. Those Templars that we took down that was a ritualistic killing, as I'm sure you know. The ritual is old one, sacrificial offering to Karnos, one of the aspects of Tal. It is usually reserved for the first kill of the spring as an offering to the other wild beasts, but a deer or perhaps a sheep in more civilized lands. And he seems to be like nearly choking on his words. They weigh so heavily on him.
Do you know what form of ruinous power performs such rituals? Is there one in particular, or is it just a general heresy?
No ruinous power. Karnos is an ancient aspect of Tal. The Lord of Beasts, he is a stag-headed man. Even Karnos himself is an aspect of an even much older deity, Ishenos. Before Tal and Raya were split into man and woman, they shared one form. And these deities have been worshipped in this land since before the Empire was founded. And they usually are referenced in obscure initiation rites or perhaps an ancient text, but not worshipped. And his eyes keep turning towards where Aleras is riding outside. I don't know if the windows are open. Like, there's a little leaden glass sort of window that has a hinge that can be opened to offer some relief to travelers inside. I don't know if those are opened or whether or not Aleras can hear the conversation going on. Sounds like it's time for Aleras to make me a hearing-based perception check.
I will do that. I will do that.
But he is distinctly, Burkhard keeps looking in Aleras' direction while he's explaining this.
Just failed.
Okay.
I notice him looking over towards Alera and say, "Are you suggesting something, Burkhard? You seem disquieted by Alera's presence."
I know little of the old faith. You should be questioning a druid or a jade magister for that, but I know that at one point the elves and humans worshipped the same gods here in what would become the Empire. This is millennia ago. I'm troubled if it's elves. I do not want it to be. But if it is, can you trust her? And he sort of just continues looking at Alero.
Yeah. I can trust Alero with my life.
I do not wish to drive a wedge between you and your people. I am only terrified that it is my own who did this.
It is wise to look within. For every enemy without, there are 100 within. It is wise to question ourselves.
Indeed. He seems otherwise to go quiet after this exchange. Unless pressed further, he doesn't say much for the rest of the day.
Yeah, Matthias is pretty broody as well after the events and probably a little bit shaken.
Okay. How about everybody else?
I think Nora would just sit quietly. She didn't see the bodies necessarily, how they were, but she would sit and sort of just think about it and probably trying to visualize it in her head and use it as motivation.
Yeah.
Alera would be on extra edge after what we witnessed back with the Three Templars. Things like this. I mean, she's been around. She's seen a few things. So this can't be good, and it's a further confirmation from what Krupp said about the stars' alignment over this particular mission. Mm-hmm. That is kind of weighing heavy on her as she remembers the lessons that her mother taught her.
How about Yidris and Rat?
So I think probably Rat, not exactly knowing social norms, would probably not pick up on the signs that he really didn't want to talk about this anymore. So probably a little bit later this day, just blatantly come out with,
So, have you got any idea who it might be? Any particular groups? Because Matthias wants to get these bastards.
You're approaching Burkhard with that?
Yeah, Burkhard, yeah.
Okay.
So just to interject real quickly, what Yidris did was she had her anatomy book out while Matthias and Burkhard were talking, and she made a note in the margin that just says, who does he know? Because she suspects that he has someone in mind or a sect in mind, other than the elves that could be behind this. And so she's going to, the little eyebrows just going to twitch very slightly as Rat asked this question, because it's basically the question she wanted to know.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good point, a good observation from Yidris. Later on that evening, like I said last time we played, these days are largely monotonous, and you are all cramped inside this carriage unless you choose to ride on the roof amongst the luggage. The roads are a muddy quagmire of just muck and melting snow and debris. And most days you have to get out at least once while the guards and the coachmen get the carriage out of the mud. So there's a lot of opportunity to just sit and think and brood. But Rat, you said you were waiting till later in the day to talk to Burkhard.
Yeah, so
yes?
I imagine it kind of would have dwelled in the back of his head whether he should ask it or not, and then impulse got the better of him and he just blurted it out.
Okay. Burkhard was clearly in some sort of deep thought at the time, and he sort of, well, there are a number of fanatical groups in the region. As I'm sure you're aware, the sacred hills just east of here tend to attract a certain sort of individual who wishes to live closer to nature, and a great many of them congregate here in groups and perform rituals sacred to them and innocuous but disturbing to outsiders. And I don't know what happened here. My route is further south of here, but if what I saw is true, then that is a Talish ritual that was used to kill those Templars, and I cannot begin to think of what that means for us.
And you've not heard of any particular groups that may be causing problems? Maybe someone in your flock that has maybe been led astray? We need names. We're going in blind.
Give me a let's see, for rat. I believe I'm going with a charm roll. However, he seems, what's that?
I was gonna say, can you address assist by like she like actively looks up from her book and is just steely eyeing this dude? Like, answer that question.
Okay, so you're attempting sort of to. You're the bad cop to rats. Yeah. So I'm going to give Rat a plus 20 bonus. Burkhard is friendly and has been cooperative this entire time, and the assist from Yidris, you get a plus 20.
That's just a failure. 2.7. I think.
Just a failure. It looks like for a minute he's going to reveal the information. You see him think for a good 15, 20 seconds. There is much that I am forbidden from disclosing to you because of my sacred vows. However, I am not whoever it is that did this, and I do not wish to be seen as an enemy. And he immediately glances towards Matthias.
I'm pretty comfortable
I only know
with
this
at this point.
Only know this. There are many groups who bring in lay members of the faith and unite them with a kind of primal savagery and force. They go by many names, but they all shun the trappings of civilization. They shun the social norms that we develop for ourselves and the customs that we have. And they care not for authority. They care not for who is emperor or who the duke is. They care only for their holy communion with Tal. And he looks both Yidris and Matthias, meets their gaze, and I can say no more.
I think Matthias gives Yidris a very kind of rare look, which is, this guy's fine. You know, just sort of like a little nod.
Okay.
She kind of rolls her eyes like, if you say so, and goes back to her book. Little pencil comes out.
Yeah, I think Matthias feels a little bit more connection to this guy because he helped bury 3 of his like kin and gave them rights where normally he wouldn't have been able to do anything for them. So yeah, he gives him like, this is like the free pass from Matthias.
Holy shit! Special day, free pass from Matthias.
You get one. Yeah.
Kind of on that, Rat will flippantly kind of shrug his shoulders. And then he'll climb out the window and try and get onto the top of the coach to stretch his legs for a little bit. But he'll flippantly kind of remark on the way out, well, you've seen what happens to people that stand in our way or distract us. And I'll just give him a smile and I'll climb out. I'll leave him staring at Matthias with that in his head.
Right. So he looks at Matthias and he says, Hermsdorf is away, at least as far from Obelheim as Obelheim is from Talgard. But if you need me, if there's something that troubles you in what you find, seek me out.
That I will. Thank you, Father.
And Burkhard then, it's getting late. You guys are not far from the small, dingy coaching inn that is maintained by this particular coaching line. And these places, you've stayed in a couple of them now, and the further out you get, the worse they become. And you're sleeping now on like rotting straw mattresses, and it's just you're served like week-old lentil mash for food and watered down spirits. So these are not happy or joyful places.
Do we get rooms for the night, or do you want to actually? Are we hand waving the inn a bit?
Yeah, I was going to hand wave it unless somebody had something that they wanted to go over or talk about. Like I said, the days here on the road are monotonous. At the fourth inn you pass, there are two men hanging from a scaffold that's been erected in the just in front of the inn, and you can see as you pass by them that they've got what looks like notice pinned to their clothing.
What do my keen eye, elven eyes see on that note?
Their crime was banditry, is what it says, and that they are part of a larger gang of ex-Bretonnian mercenaries that are plaguing this stretch of the road. From here to Obelheim, the notice reads.
We should keep a closer look out for more brigands like these.
Agreed, although I do not think that they are the same ones responsible for my dead kin.
No, but just another threat.
So unless anyone has anything they want to get out or discuss, we can sort of hit fast forward on the travel. The days creep by. The nights are freezing, and the days are warm in patches of sunlight. But for the most part, the Old Forest Road is true to its name and is mostly overhung with trees, creating a lot of shaded areas and mottled forest. I'm going to share some stuff with you guys on Fantasy Grounds, taking advantage of the images feature of our fantasy virtual tabletop choice, isn't it? It's the middle of the day for me, so I'm already too far gone. Anyway, a little color for our players. So unless there's anything you want to do, we can just get on with the getting on. Yeah,
I think we try and keep a low profile, where as low as it's possible to keep a low profile as a band like us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the people you meet on the road or pass by are either like woodcutters or swineherds or trappers that are just going about their business. The occasional road warden, you'll pass, but for the most part, you'll go hours without seeing anyone. It's quite a lonely stretch of road. Let's see. On the 8th day of travel, so the discovering the crucified Templars was on the 3rd day of travel. This is 5 days later on the 8th day of travel. You expect to reach the road to Obelheim not too much longer. You hear the driver shouting up ahead. You hear like the driver and the watchman. And Alero, you can make me a vision perception test. I'm going to keep saying chest, so I might as well just embrace it.
Alero,
my eyes are up here, Jim. Eyes are up here.
There's 2 wild magic surges from Catalyst Creations as well, so 2d10 gaze for Alero. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Thanks.
That's your heresy.
Yes.
Okay.
What happens to Alero?
The last time this happened, we burnt someone over cheese.
Fail. So yeah, I don't see anything.
Bit of bastards.
Okay. You weren't looking at the right way. You gonna roll those wild magic surges?
Yep.
Yeah, I collect them out here for you. So whereabouts are we on this map at the moment?
You guys are in the upper left-hand corner.
Okay. Nice.
Along that road that's running north to south.
Nice. Okay, so Alero 6757. Alero teleports to a barren Arctic wasteland for the next 1d4 + 1 hours. It's like Kislev, right?
Oh my god, okay.
You could just do arrow up to get your last roll, Brett, and it should get you the right D10K formula.
That Elven Heresy.
Yeah.
Right. Starting to get a bit suspicious about Alero. The next potion imbibed by Alero triggers a chaos burst. That's bad.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, God.
They're two words you don't want together.
All right. What does a chaos burst do?
Does it say? Chaos burst?
Doesn't say. Okay. I mean, in Warhammer, something chaotic, presumably.
I need Yidris to make me a willpower roll. This is her sixth sense.
Willpower is WP?
Correct.
Yes? Okay. I wanted to make sure that it doesn't have something else random.
No, 24.
So that's a standard success.
Standard success, yes. So I guess let's go ahead and deal with these wild magic surges. So we've got one where Alero is teleported to a frozen tundra for, and then the other is a chaos burst. So the wind, Yidris feels for a minute, or just an instant, as you are traveling, that there is the winds of magic, which are the ways in which magic enters the old world, or through these polar gates, and they sort of come down. Each of the types of winds of magic has a different characteristic to it, and for the uninitiated, they might feel it and might describe it like, oh, someone walked on my grave, or I had a deja vu, or something like that. But to those who are attuned to it, and those who have trained their senses to feel it, they can pick up on these. And Yidris feels a gust of the winds of magic sweep down the old forest road, and there is a burst of magical energy as it sweeps along like a tidal wave that hits the wagon there. I'm going to need everyone to make me an agility test. I did it again. An agility test. And we'll see what happens after that.
Everyone will make an agility test. All right.
I'm going to fail every roll today, apparently.
Oh my God, bro.
That's a success. Actually made a success.
You've got only so many successful rolls for your 9 hours of gaming.
I know. Using all the luck up.
All right. So what do we have here? We've got Yidris's willpower roll, meaning that she senses the magic as it's coming down. We've got Alera's going to be knocked off her horse as well as teleported to a frozen wasteland. I'll describe that to you in just a moment. Yidris is safe, not knocked around the cabin. It looks like everyone else manages to not be knocked around as the wagon sort of buckles and bursts, and there is a shout and a scream from one of the drivers as something happens to one of the horses. Alero is missing, gone, vanished from thin air.
What's happened to the horse?
That's right. Rat is outside. And Burkhardt is thrown into I guess the empty space that Rat had left. One of the horses has turned itself inside out, and its entrails are all enmeshed with the harness. There is a screams from the other horse as it's trying to, like, lashing out against the reins and the harness that it's in, and the two of the drivers, so the coachman and the blunderbussman, were thrown from the coach as the wave of magic hit everyone.
Aleras' horse has been turned inside out, or the coach horse?
One of the coach horses has been turned inside out. Aleras' horse is fine.
Is it just on its own? Have I noticed that she's missing and the horse is just...
Aleras' horse is just on its own, riderless. Alera is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Matthias will sort of draw his sword, looking about for the ambush.
Okay.
Yidris is going to just turn to Matthias. Sorry.
No, go on. You're...
She'll say, magic. Came down the road directly for us. Something or someone has sent that. And she's like busy looking around. She doesn't know. Yeah. And having the Templars in the back of her head.
Yeah, he goes to like call for Alero to look around, but Alero isn't there. It's like, damn, look around. There must be a magician nearby.
Nora sort of makes a sign for the priest to stay where he is before sort of opening the door, like axe in hand. It's just like, what the hell was that? And then sees the horse and is just like, not like speechless, but just sort of looking at the others like, I'm pretty sure he wasn't like that when we left.
No, the coachman and the other blunderbussman are rapidly scrambling to try to get the other horse out of the harness so that it doesn't injure itself trying to escape. I need Nora and Rat to make me perception tests, and if you have a talent that affects hearing, it's relevant in this case. How about Yidris and Matthias? Were y'all still in the carriage?
He'll jump out and start casting a look around as well. He's pretty certain this is an ambush.
Okay.
I got a massive failure. I imagine my ears are still ringing from this awful kind of bang that shot through me.
Yeah, it was a tremendous, like I said, it was like a tidal wave of pressure. It had a physical force to it, and so it sort of like renders you senseless maybe for a minute. Oh, so
I
Nora.
also failed.
Okay. Anyone who's outside of the carriage can make me a hearing-based perception test.
Let's give that a go.
Let me see. I imagine Yidris came out and she's gone to go and just stop the horse from rearing, because if we need to move, she wants that horse sensible.
Okay. Do you have, let's see.
And I have
success.
Success. Yidris can assist with an animal care roll. Actually, if you just assist them, they can, you can just, they'll like hold this rein or undo this buckle. Boom, we got perception. Okay, so both Yidris and Matthias, the carriage must have protected your senses or something, because you can both hear that there are shouts and screams coming further up the road as well. Shouts of pain and of assistance. What languages do the two of you speak?
Very good question. I think I just speak common.
Common human.
Okay, Reichsspiel, the common language of the Empire. Yeah. Then you guys don't have any idea what they're saying. Their words, they sound human, but it's in a language you don't understand.
Is this behind us or in front of us?
In front.
The direction we were going to?
Correct.
Where the magic came from?
Where the magic was going towards.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Magic hit y'all's back, right? It's sort of like washed over you from the back.
Okay. Priest was at the back of the carriage? Matthias's free pass is up. If Nora's close to the priest, I say, take him. I don't trust him.
Okay.
Nora immediately just looks at Matthias, nods, and can she just grab the priest and force him down onto his knees?
I mean, he was already in the carriage anyway. He's like, what? Are we safe? Is everything okay?
And I say, Yidris, Rat, on me. And he's going to jog up the roads where he hears these foreign voices, drawing a pistol as he goes.
Okay.
I will jump down and follow him.
Okay. And then Yidris as well. It's not too far up the road that you see a similar scene that's playing out back at your carriage. There is a 3 humans in traditional soldier's garb, right? They're wearing the long overcoats, the sort of the leather overcoats for the soldiers, a wide brim hat pinned to one side. They got the bandoliers of gunpowder and shot and harquebus muskets at their side, and they are standing over the body and trying to help one of their comrades who, like the horse, appears to have been turned itself inside out. And they're not looking in your really direction at all. They're just sort of screaming and shouting.
Well, they don't look like spellcasters.
What do you do? Should we get him? Should we help
No,
him?
they do not look like they are the problem. Looks like they have had a similar thing occur to them. It came from behind us.
Can I go check Aleras' horse? He never leaves that horse. Maybe he left a note or something.
What happened to his magic rat? I don't think Aleras was prepared for it.
Is she dead?
Well, let us hope that she is with Sigma.
Brad genuinely looks at you with a look of sadness.
Well, Matthias would rather she was dead than with some kind of ruinous power.
Sigmar takes elves, right?
Yeah, right.
Yidris is gonna turn to Rat and just be like, "Go get the horse," because she just wants Rat out of the way right in this moment.
I want to skulk around behind the carriage while he does it.
Okay, so you guys were like briefly scouted forward and then are coming back. Mm-hmm. Okay, Matthias is around the carriage. Yidris was going around as well.
Yeah, she'll get a little bit forward because she wants to check out this eviscerated dude. Just to see if there's it's an anatomy lesson for free, all right? The insides are outside for once. You didn't have to do anything.
That's true.
So, professional interest, and also just to kind of see if there are any signs of the magic continuing to progress further down. As if, in case it's a being that's charged through, or
as you get closer to the group of men standing there, one of them like shakily points his gun at you and doesn't even say anything, and then the other one, perhaps the leader or something, has a bit closer, a bit less raggedy, looks at you and is like, "You did this, huh? You're the one who turned my man inside out?" And he just sort of like seems both scared and defiant at the same time.
"I did not touch your man. This is magic. Heresy." And she's like busy scouting, looking for danger. Not too really interested in what they're doing, what they have to say. She's a witch hunter. She's got bigger problems right now. Right. And she'll look back and see Matthias is moving in the other direction.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a perception test.
Sure.
For Yidris.
Doesn't look good.
Yeah, the forest is pretty thick around here. There's lots of places there could be others hiding in ambush than just these 3. Is anyone else joining Yidris up there? Y'all can just really see that she's with these 3 men on the road.
If I don't find anything behind the carriage, and there's no I imagine at this point Matthias would have expected that there would have been an ambush started if there was going to be one. That he will trail back round and back up Yidris, talking to these 3 Bretonnian sounding guys.
Yes.
And I'll ride the horseback once I've got on Aleras' horse, if it will let me.
Wow,
that's gonna be that's not gonna be accomplished really without some rolls for sure.
Horse is racist.
Yeah, my horse is really.
It's an alpha horse. Who expected anything else?
It's in my backstory.
I need Rat to make me an animal care check just to get it to stay calm enough to let you attempt to get on, and then a ride check.
Oh god, I don't have that. Okay. That's 2 degrees of failure on my animal care.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. It's like rears up when you come near it and is trying to get away.
I'll just start crying at the horse. Oh no, he's dead.
Well, so there's two other guards on horses, and they make sure Aleras' horse doesn't run away completely. But so Rat's over there trying to corral the horses, and Nora's still with Burkhard, the priest.
Yeah, she's just literally holding him by the shoulder very firmly. She is not really looking at him. She's watching what the others are doing and where they're going. And if he makes any sound or movement, she just pushes him a little bit closer to the ground each time.
Okay. Yeah, he looks concerned now. He's like, this was not me. I barely can, I can't even protect you from the rain, let alone...
Did I say you could talk? No. And she just keeps staring forward.
Okay. Matthias and Yidris back at the
This guy's giving Yidris trouble.
Yeah, he's sort of defiantly sort of like standing up to her, and it seems like he was accusing her of doing this to them as you're coming up.
Yeah,
my man, look, he can't look at him. Who did this? Huh?
It was not us. It was not Yidris.
Get your man out of the road. She's just going to go into bossy mode because she's not taking this crap right now.
Okay. You see that he shoots one of his people a look, and I'm trying to think. I think maybe just give me a fellowship roll. Both Yidris and Matthias can do that.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm not good at fellowship, I'm pretty sure.
This is not...
That's a bad miss.
There's a look that passes between the one who'd been talking to Yidris and one of the others. And it's okay. We will cede you the road, but you should be careful. There are many dangerous people out here, huh?
I hear that there are bandits about. I saw a few strung up in the tavern back there. I would certainly hope that men such as him would not get in our way.
Would not think of it. He looks you up and down with your witch hunter's garb and your pistols, and the fact that Yidris approached the three of them without any concern. Wouldn't think of it. Just give me a moment. We'll get this man out of our way. Out of your way.
What is your business on this road?
Just walking. Mean no trouble.
Is that like an insight equivalent?
That's what I was curious about. I don't see a particular insight skill. It's possible it's an advanced skill that's not on there. I think I'm going to go ahead and say that it's just a fellowship test to tell if someone's lying or not. I might be. That's the ruling I'm going to make right now. We'll look it up later.
Nope.
I sadly don't have all of the skills memorized in my head, so there is that. Yeah, I mean, there's something suspicious that Yidris thinks, right? But putting her finger on it is difficult to...
I mean, everyone's suspicious to Yidris, so...
That's true.
Well,
but they are... What's that?
I think if these guys are just bandits, they're less so our problem if they don't want to be our problem.
Yeah, it looks like maybe they were starting something. But they are quickly trying to get the corpse of their companion out of the road and get out of y'all's way.
Yeah, I'll put a hand on Yidris's shoulder and say, come. These were not the men responsible for this. Some other ruinous power works against us.
Should we have the priest tend to the body? In case this is some dark heresy.
I am... No, that's a different game. No, whacking out the bangers and loads of obscure Warhammer references. God, I'm a funny guy. Yeah, they love me down Games Workshop, trust me.
Get some of that sweet Games Workshop money.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that was more funny to me than it should have been. Yeah, Matthias will say, I am not entirely sure that the priest is entirely trustworthy. It came from behind us, and the priest was in the back of the carriage, and he was the one that was telling us that members of his order may have fallen to heresy. I did not press him before, but perhaps now we should.
I do think it's likely he's hiding something from us, but people often do.
He is a priest, so his position is above the average commoner. I would not go in and torture this man unless I was certain. I think it is best that we ask him some stern questions, first of all.
And she'll nod and indicate that she's ready to follow when Matthias is ready to go out.
Yeah, I think Matthias is a little bit aware that, like, murdering a priest of Tal in, like, Tal country is, like, not a good way to go. So we want to ask him some questions, but we don't want to put him to the knife just yet.
Right. As all of this unfolds, Alero, this thing hits your back, and you feel it as a cold, chill wind that cuts to the bone. And as you fall from your horse, you are not in the forest that you began in. When you started this fall, you were in the Great Forest. And now that you end it, you are in some sort of snow-covered pine forest, the boughs heavy with fresh snow. And your landing is softened. You're suffering no ill effects other than being covered in snow. And there's no road. There's no nothing. It's just about 2 feet of snow in a pine forest.
Oh, by the gods. As she looks around, is there anything about the topography of I mean, can she see around, or is it just trees?
At the moment, it's just trees. However, if you you don't even need to check, you can hear the sound of an ocean or something. You hear waves crashing along the shore, and they don't sound like a lake.
And I'm going to say that she's never heard that before.
Okay.
So, but she will move towards that sound because she knows in survival you always want to go towards water. So, hearing the sounds of lapping water, yeah, she'll start moving towards that. But she's going to go ahead and pull out her bow and ready, hand on an arrow.
That's also a magic item from Catalyst Creations for Alero in Snowy Exile. Thank you.
Awesome.
Very good. So do you travel towards the sound?
Yeah, she starts moving towards the sound of the ocean because because it sounds like water, sure, but she's never heard water sound like that before.
On the wind, you hear both the sound of waves crashing, but you also hear the voices of your companions. You can hear Nora speaking harsh words to Burkhard, and the sound of Rat attempting to rein in your horse, as well as the sounds of both Yidris and Matthias questioning a man who you don't recognize the accent of. But you are definitely in a different place. It's maybe the same time from when you left, but it's definitely not the same environment. You're continuing towards the waves, yes?
Well, when she hears the voices of her companions, she will call out to them, like, Matthias? Matthias? Idris? Can you not hear me?
No answers.
The gloaming sign, she just mutters to herself. and begins continuing to move towards the sounds of the ocean.
Okay.
Keeping your eyes peeled.
There is a you eventually hear other voices and languages that you can't understand, and as you get closer, the ground gets steeper and steeper, and the water comes right up to the forest line. There's barely a beach; it's more of a gravel strand where the water meets the forest, and ahead of you is a vast nothing of water, just a rippling sheet of water as you see the ocean for the first time. Down below you on the gravel beach is a wrecked ship of some sort, a longship type vessel, single mast, a great big monstrous head carved into it, but the front half of it is cracked and splintered open, and there are a handful of figures moving and shouting at each other from the wreckage. And
I assume I do not understand them?
They are human, and you do not understand them. They have big, shaggy beards and long hair and the like.
Okay. I will probably stay concealed where I am and watch them for a bit. I mean, it looks like they recently landed here or washed up.
Yeah, basically. You can see dead bodies lying about the beach.
And does it look like a conflict or just like an accident?
Looks like maybe an accident. The three men aren't there very long. They're pulling out something. They walk away with a box. They don't. You don't see them after they leave.
Okay, once they leave, I'm gonna just give it a minute, and then she'll move down and inspect. I assume they just leave the dead bodies behind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'll move down and to inspect those, keeping an eye out.
Okay. As you keep an eye out, there's debris everywhere. Oiled tarps that are unraveled, big ropes and bits of the ship are all washed up on the shore, as well as whatever cargo is in there. It looks as though much of it has been picked clean. You see the occasional coin or valuable item just dropped on the shore, but a lot of it's been picked over. You do feel drawn towards the interior of the ship. The voices of your friends get louder and louder, but you feel compelled by this vessel.
Okay. Yeah. Alert. She'll slowly, hesitantly, but she'll follow the compulsion and
okay.
and look inside the vessel.
Okay. Inside, inexplicably left behind by all of the looters who might have come through here, you find yourself drawn towards a tarp that is folded over something. You can see a bit of wood or something sticking out from underneath the tarp. The rest of everything here is waterlogged and destroyed.
Okay. She will move forward and reach out slowly and peel the tarp back to reveal whatever's underneath.
You see a bow made of perhaps wood or horn of some kind. It is not an elegant, graceful longbow of elven make. It's shorter, although not a short bow, but it has talismans on it and carvings along the wood. It's a pale wood, like I said, and it calls to Alero.
Oh my! And she'll pick up the bow by the handle and heft it and give it a once over.
Okay. The sounds of your friends get louder and louder. They're speculating. There's discussion of some kind, and you feel yourself being drawn towards them across a great distance. Everybody else, the soldiers on the road have removed their inverted inside out man. The coachman and the attendants have cut free the other horse and are rigging up a system with ropes to get you to the next inn where they'll get repairs. The body of the inside-out horse is cast to the side of the road. What was everyone doing during this time? It's about an hour that Alero's been gone. It's also taking a long time to get the horse out.
Yeah, we chatting to the priest, I'd imagine.
Okay.
I think Rat would have
shocked.
been with mullet, kind of nose to the ground, just trying to hunt everywhere for Alero.
Okay.
Nora was just waiting for a signal from Matthias as to what she does next with the priest, basically.
Gotcha.
I think we do it inside the carriage and just get him in that sort of confined space and let Yidris go in and ask some questions while Nora sort of holds him.
Okay. And how about Yidris? Okay, so Yidris is in there. He's not resisting, and seems calmer than he was. Yep. I don't know what that was. You surely don't think it was me, do you?
I do not yet know what I think of you, Mr. Burkhardt, but you did mention knowings that there may be members of your order who may be involved in this. Before I did not press you on this matter, but I think now it is appropriate to.
He gives it some thought. Very well. I was born in Obelheim, and there were always stories about the region. A great fragment of Morsleep long ago is said to have fallen and landed. Surely you know of Mordheim, the city of the damned, and it's the trail of that passed over this region, and it was always said that great chunks of it fell in the forest and dusted the land, but they say that everywhere. And people are always making up some excuse or another for the warts that they have or a stillborn cow. I've never believed any of it, but this place has always been strange, and the mutants here are quite prolific and tolerated. I simply didn't wish it to be true. He seems almost relieved to get the truth out.
Yeah. You mentioned members of your order being proficient in such things, worshipping perhaps this Karnos, the ancient aspect of Tal. You know of some people who might be involved, or at least where I could find them.
The kin of Tal are quite active in the region. They take young men and lead them out into sweat lodges and give them their first hunt, their first kill. They become intoxicated and dance themselves into a frenzy before exhaustion overtakes them. It is a harmless thing, but they are quite insular and jealous of the influence they have. That is but one of the sects. There are horned hunters here who wander through the woods naked with using only their hands to hunt. There are celebrants who drink themselves into a stupor in order to commune with Tal, and those are just the Tal cults. Raya has her own, where they learn the arts of midwifery and all other manner of secret magic that we are not privy to. I do not know what goes on in those rituals. I've only heard of them, but the kin of Tal are quite violent when they want to be.
Do they have a temple in Obelheim or one of these villages nearby?
He looks around, and their temple is the forest. They build no structures. Waystones, megaliths, as you would call them, standing rocks, are sometimes revered. They believe they were placed there by Ashernos itself. But they always seemed to me to be too much like Herdstones. I never got into that.
Just as well for you, Burkhardt. Very well. Thank you for your assistance. I think it is best that we get on our way to the nearest village and begin our investigation proper. It is a shame that Aleras has been lost to us.
Why would the magic claim the elf? It destroyed the human man and the horse, and yet she is gone without any trace. Why would she be an exception?
Burkhardt shrugs if you're asking him.
Yeah, it's kind of addressed to Matthias and Burkhardt. She's just wanting theories now.
Yeah, Matthias, there is no way to be certain, but it is possible that the ruinous powers that be are aware that we are investigating the area. Mayhaps they have taken Aleras in order to torture her for information, maybe to just while away at our numbers and make us weaker. Either way, it is not a good thing that Aleras is missing and not dead.
Hey, all I know is that the elves have a special relationship with magic. Perhaps whereas the beast and the man were taken, Aleras' connection saved her somehow. And it is close to that moment when there's a loud thump against the side of the carriage. What was Yidris going to say before that?
She said perhaps it was part of the gloaming omen that we were warned of. The hiding and concealment. But then she'll be interrupted by the...
But yeah, there's a wet smack against the side, and Aleras finds herself... you have the horn bow in one hand. You're covered in sea spray and salt water, and your back is sort of... You wake up, you don't really feel an impact, but you sort of come to and are back in the old forest against the side of the carriage.
Head snapping to look out the window. It's kind of like, speak the name of devils and they shall appear. As she's like seeing Aleras with this beast.
Was Rat on the top of the carriage?
No, so I was kind of around the carriage looking for clues and sign of things. Do I see like a spark of light or anything like that?
You see at a crash of like a wave of some kind. There's a great big gust of not gust, but a wave of water, right? And Aleras just is in it, and it looks like it splashes against the side of the carriage. And Aleras is sort of wet. It's not like drenched, but Aleras is at least the front portion of her is wet.
I'll sprint over as soon as I see it.
Okay.
But
are you okay?
By the gods.
Is everything okay? You're alive.
Brett.
And I'll kind of offer you a hand, like I'm not going to be much help pulling you up, but...
She takes Rat's hand and stands up kind of on her own, but allows him the notion.
I was at the ocean. Have you... What happened?
You just went. You left your horse, and
I start banging on the carriage.
Matthias, it's a miracle.
Jump out of the carriage to look at Aleras. You're back. How?
I do not know, Matthias. I felt an impact, and I was in the snow, and there was the ocean. I followed it, and I found a boat with ragged, bearded men. And I found this. I heard your voices. I called to you, and there was nothing. But I could hear you from across the distance, wherever I was to wherever you are now. And then a wave crashed into me, and here I am.
Where were you?
Disconcerted. I have never been there. I have never seen the ocean. I have only heard about it. Just an expanse, endless water.
Does that sound like anywhere that we've heard of?
nearest ocean is 1,000 miles away from where y'all are.
There was
now,
snow in the trees.
I'll lean
know.
across to Matthias and whisper that he should ask Aleras something only Alara would know. She's like fully like.
Yeah. I think our witchy senses are like a little bit worried about Alero. Alero, we must be certain that the touch of chaos has not placed its mark upon you. For strange magics have been at work here today. That man out there was turned inside out, and you were spirited away by magic. Tell me now, the name of the witch who you seek. I must know it is you.
I seek, as I told you when we first met, Matthias, when you saved me. Khalifa is the witch's name, is the name she told me. Khalifa.
And as she was saying this, like, you see her like lean the bow down against the carriage, like, and like let go of it, like knowing Matthias for who he is. She disarms herself voluntarily as she's saying this.
Yeah. He nods slowly and says, turns back to the group and says, "It is our Alero. I know not how she's been taken back from us, but
the winds of chaos, they blow all around us, Matthias. We should be careful not to be buffeted by them again."
Agreed. We must seek out the root of this evil. Whatever druids or mutants that can be found in the area, and put an end to it as soon as possible. I think we must... Actually, let me go look at my map. I think we will start in Badao. Our investigation will start there, and we'll work our way up to the top until we find whatever darkness lays in these woods. One of the horses is dead. Can the carriage still work at all, or are we on foot now?
They are going to need to use Alero's horse to make it to Obelheim.
Yes, let me gather Sophia.
And she'll walk over and pull out a piece of like dried fruit and call her horse over.
Okay.
Rat will give up his spot in the carriage and he'll sleep on top, just to make room for everything else.
All right.
Well, not just sleep all the time, but when we're traveling at night, he'll sleep on top. He'll also act as a lookout because he's super on edge now.
Okay.
I think can Nora join him? Just sort of.
Yeah.
She's not trusting anything now. Now that she's been able to leave the priest, she's. Yeah.
How big is the carriage? Also?
The carriage can fit 6 individuals. Rat and Nora can squeeze in if it's the 2 of them, but like 6 humans or elves, it can fit. So with Nora and Rat sort of riding on top of the luggage up top, which is actually kind of pleasant, I guess. There's actually more room inside the carriage than before.
I was only asking because Alero would not want to be inside a carriage. She would probably want to be on top or up front, with a nice view and the ability to move about.
There's a running board on the back of the carriage that Alero could sort of stand on or even sit on if she doesn't mind her feet kind of dangling into the road.
That's fine.
Okay. Matthias, in that case, the interior of the carriage is quite spacious now.
Yeah. Well, there's so much room we lie down.
Idris, Matthias, and Burkhard staring at each other warily.
The 2 of us are across the room, just staring at him like he's interrogated. Matthias would definitely say to Idris as we step inside the carriage, "Watch them, Alero especially."
Of course, as always.
You and I both know the enemy within is the worst.
just the worst.
Fucking worst, man.
It's the fucking
Just the worst.
You just hate him, dude.
So as she's making like that last step into the carriage and she's being told this, she wants to glance back down the road towards where the 3 bandits or 2.5 bandits were, and just make sure they've like cleared out.
Yes. Yeah, they've cleared out. How far into the woods do you go?
She's not gonna go after them or anything. She just
wants to see. It looks like they dragged the inside-out man into the woods somewhere. You don't see it from the road, but the trail is obvious.
Yeah, that's fine with her. And then she'll just get inside and take a seat in this nice roomy carriage she now has.
Right. It's very roomy now. The coach, using a makeshift rope harness to lash Sophia to the carriage, makes its way down. Now the road to Boughs is still closed. Boughs is in one of the hillier portions of the region, and the coachman just refuses. There's a reason why they skip to Obelheim before heading further south. He is happy to stop, and I guess maybe and let you out on foot if you wish. We can, I guess, if we want to wait till Will gets back to see if that's what y'all do, we can sort of retroactively do it. Otherwise, the coachman is heading on to Obelheim and should be there before nightfall on the 9th day of travel. Give me an idea of just what's the mood after this encounter with the winds of magic.
Well, Aleras just sitting kind of on that back running board, like contemplating the future of this journey while watching where we were and like what happened back there, because it's something that she's had a brush or two with magic, but nothing like that.
Gotcha. And then how about Nora and Rat on top of the carriage?
Nora probably shifted about quite a bit on the top, almost like falling over and not doing well, but she probably shuffles like towards Alero if she can, even if it's just sort of looking down on her, but it's just like, why did you think it was only you that disappeared?
I do not know. Perhaps being elven had something to do with it. I am not sure.
So it's not happened before?
No, nothing like that. No. I have encountered magic. I have been affected by it, but never been taken from one place to another physically.
And that bow, did you find that there?
She kind of looks down at this bow. She's like,
yes, it called to me. I could hear your voices. And I went to it. It was shipwrecked, and it had been looted by some very ragged bearded men. And it was just there under a tarp left behind.
Nora almost moves away from the bow, and it's just like, that's a bit too much magic for me. I'll leave you to it. And she just sort of shuffles back round to face the same direction where Rat was.
Okay. And then, so Rat, what's Rat's mood like after the encounter? Because you just straight on edge, right?
Yeah, still feeling massively out of depth. I think he'd take a little bit of time to speak to Nora and say,
I've got something to ask you.
Ask away.
After seeing what happened to Alero and the horse, I need you to do something for me. If anything happens to me, you promise you'll look after Mullet.
Of course I will. He's a lovely boy, and she gives him a little scratch on the head.
He really likes. He doesn't normally like people, but I don't think any of the others would look after him. So I'm trusting you, okay?
Yeah, you can trust me. But don't be thinking you're going to be disappearing on us yet. I think you're stronger than you think.
He kind of smiles a little bit.
Listen, do you think she did that?
And he kind of nods his head back.
Like, Nora not quite getting it straight away, does a really big turn back to have a look. He's like,
Right begins to mime
really
outfits.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't really know. I guess it's going to be a matter of waiting.
I trust her. She seems like a nice person, but I'm not sure about Matthias and Yidris anymore. I think they're worried about her.
To be honest, she seems like a nice gal. I trust her. But that doesn't mean I won't be keeping an eye on her. She's still dabbled with magic. It's been with her. It's not her I don't trust, it's whatever's afflicted her.
He kind of just nods, and then somebody looks off into the middle distance.
Nora just sort of scratches the dog's head again to sort of try and make Rat calm down a little bit.
Okay. All right. The tense mood sticks with the group, I think, right? You are... oh, by the way, Will, when we were out, the coachman had informed the party that the road to Boughs from the Old Forest Road was closed. Boughs sits in a hillier part of the region, and the road is just too muddy to make it up those hills. If you wish to get out and walk, he's willing to, let you out at the crossroads to the road to Boughs.
Yeah. Let's do that. Matthias, like, that is probably a good idea. I want to investigate every village, leave no stone unturned. We will walk. Thank you, coachman. I guess this is where we part ways as well, then, Burkhart.
Burkhart gives you a brief, he was thinking about something else. Yes, as I said, do call on me. I am deeply troubled if this is the work of my kin. I hope it isn't. And he, with that, he gets back in the carriage, and he's going to have a lonely few weeks or a few days of travel.
Yeah. Tip my hat to him as he goes.
Right.
Are they just wondering? Is this going to have to be only on foot? Because Alero has a horse that they have attached to a wagon right now.
Well, without a full wagon, they only need one horse, right? So they'll give you your horse back. They're going to have to get another one in Obelheim anyway.
Don't worry, Lara. We won't separate you from Sophia. That's fine. You're like Rat without mullet.
Exactly.
That's also that's also a viewer decision for you, Jim.
Oh wow. Okay. This is going to be a good one.
I don't like the sound of that.
What is the mood like? What's going on in Boughs at this moment is what I'm curious
What's
about.
What's up in Boughs?
What's going on in Boughs right now? Boughs is kind of a hilly, villagey kind of place.
Boughs right now. Nice.
Boughs right now.
There's like a Glastonbury music festival going on in my head. That's why I've just said it's going on.
Boughs right now.
So you get off at the crossroads, the road to Boughs. Indeed, you can see quickly heads up into a lightly forested, hilly part of the region, and briefly in a gap in the trees, you can see the smoke from the villages. So you're not that far, but the road there is, like I said, is going to be a bit treacherous. Let's see. We've only got one horse.
Yeah.
Yes, if y'all would like to throw your extra gear upon Sophia, we can use that and go on foot.
Would make
Yeah,
sense
that's
to
the
use for
other
the
thing. I
food
guess everyone does a
supplies.
bunch of gear. What's that?
I up the course in case it's a chaos horse.
Chaos.
It's all chaos.
Yidris will transport over the food supplies, which is one of the most important things that she thinks we should have being transported by horse.
Yeah, I think so as well. We don't have to do it right now, but I'm curious to know how much food you have with you. Maybe that's something we can work out backstage. So Sophia has got all the luggage and the gear and everything like that, and everyone else is on foot. You have, let's see, where was this? It's about the middle of the 9th day when you would have gotten to the crossroads to Boughs. So you have another couple of hours before, or actually more than that, before sunset. And if you don't run into any trouble, you will probably make it there before sundown. Otherwise, give me an idea of how y'all walk through the woods here. Who's on point?
Alera will pass off Sophia to Rat, and just and hand him a couple of pieces of dried fruit, and just be like, "If you give her one of these every so often, you will befriend her. I must take the lead, and she'll take point after that."
Okay.
Yeah, Rat is fine with that. He'll stick himself somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I think Nora will probably hang back and just keep an eye on whatever's happening behind her so she can see the whole party.
Okay. So that's...
If Nora's at the back, Yidris will be at the front with Alera.
Okay. And then where is Matthias in all this?
Well, somewhere in the middle of a group, I guess.
Okay. So I've got marching order as Alero, Yidris, Matthias, Nora, and then Rat.
With
I think I was in front of Nora.
Rat
Yeah.
in front of Nora. Rat, and then Nora. All right.
No one
The
puts
road-
Rat at the back.
With Sophia as well. The road here is muddy, and your boots immediately, start to stick in it. You can see why the coachman was reluctant to come this way, but you pick your way through the road, walking along the edges where there's still, a little bit of grass that was covered by the snow over the winter. It's slow going. It is uphill, and for the most part, the forest is quiet. It's early spring still, so you hear birds and little squirrels chattering about and taking what little is left on the branches after winter, but there's not a lot of life that you see here yet. It's still very much in its winter phase. No green, that kind of thing. There we go. So let me see. Did we get a viewer decision yet? I didn't see it.
I'll put it in the cool chat for you here.
Gotcha. The road to Boughs is arduous as you walk up. There is nothing of particular note that happens other than it's quiet and chilly eventually. Getting into it, you see an encampment before you actually get to the village. So the tree line kind of thins out a bit. Boughs sits on a treeless hill. It's got a walled palisade around it, and there is an encampment sort of on the road between the village and the direction that you're coming from. That's what Alero sees while she's in the lead. Ooh. Okay.
Okay. Well, she will stop up and let everyone kind of catch up to her, and before we move forward.
Okay.
What do you see up there, Lero?
is an encampment, Matthias. You should see for yourself.
All right. He will approach the village to a point where his eyes can see.
Okay. Approaching it, you see the encampment reminds you of, say, a road warden encampment. They tend to, not impose on the region where they're at, and really treat their where they live as if they're on campaign. So it doesn't look that big. Perhaps like it could hold 15 or so road wardens, but you make out the unmistakable flag of a detachment that flies there, and then the village just simply looks like any other village. Smoke rising from the chimneys. Lots of places around here have walls around their villages.
Okay, then I think we go towards the road warden camp, because other guys are going to know what's going on the roads.
Making your way towards the encampment, and there is it's like a cluster of tents in a semicircle with what looks like stakes arranged around it, so that it's not like a fence or anything, but there is a clear boundary marker of where in the camp that it is. And as you approach, a rugged looking human man comes out, wearing the sort of garb of the road warden, another broad brimmed hat, great big coat, and he calls out, "I didn't think I'd see anyone come up that road for another couple of weeks. Did you walk all the way here on foot?"
We have a special interest in the village of Badau. My name is Matthias Hurst, and this is my entourage, Idris, Alero, Rat, and Nora. We are witch hunters.
Well, I am Hermann Scheuermann. Pleased to meet you. I'm the captain of the road warden detachment here.
Pleased to meet you, Herr Freumann. How have the roads been of late?
Closed for the most part, but plagued by this damnable de Montague and his band of Bretonians.
We have met a few of their number across the road, seen several of them strung up on a tavern on the crossroads before we got here. How many do they number?
I estimate less than 20. We were the ones who hung those two at that inn. Been hunting them ever since. Somewhere in these hills.
What does he say? De Montague was his name?
De Montague. Felix de Montague.
There's Dan Montagues. All right.
So everyone, all of you know that the Empire's recently come out of about a 10 to 12 year period of political and religious strife. Partly during that time, foreign mercenaries were used to a great deal, particularly from Bretonia, Astalia, Attilia. For our non-Warhammer people, that would be France, Spain, and Italy, respectively, that were brought into the Empire as mercenaries. And so, out of work now, they just are a bunch of out-of-work soldiers, and causes all the problems that you can imagine.
Well, we saw another one of them dead along the road as well, so you can count down another one of their number at the least. I hope that this de Montague does not cause too much trouble for you, but there are other troubles which interest us specifically. You know our business, of course.
Of course, yes.
The hunting of witches and heresy in all places. Do you know of any occult activity, mutants in the area? People have gone missing, perhaps. Any signs of ruinous powers?
There are mutants in the area, yes. South of Horno, on through Neuhof, you'll find an encampment close to the river. Altfurt, they call it. But they keep to themselves there. They don't go bothering anyone, as far as I know. Just living their quiet little lives. What Heresy could possibly find here?
So, well, you're not far. It seems if you've been down the tavern where you strung up those men that 3 of my kin, Templars no less, have been strung up and killed in a most barbaric manner. We seek those who may have diverted themselves from the worship of Tal and instead worship a darker aspect.
Yes, the Talites hold sway here considerably. I hope you're not looking for a Sigmarite church. There hasn't been one here in at least a generation, if not longer. Well, he looks at you, and it's sort of like 2 professionals meeting. We have our own work to do. Perhaps you or any of your... He looks across the heavily armed and armored group that you're with. We're looking to help collect some bounties. Then we could always use an extra sword arm.
Nora here, that is her trade. Perhaps you could interest her in such a thing, but our task leads ever onwards. Tell me, here, Scheumann, is there somewhere we can stay for the night here?
There will be lodging in Boughs. Their inn is pleasant enough. Small, rustic fare, of course, but they are welcoming sort, at least at the inn.
Thank you. Then I wish you the best of luck in your hunt for the Montague. If we come across any of his men, then we'll be sure to send them your way.
Excellent. We will appreciate any effort that you put into it.
If I sort of nods to Nora in case she wants to get on these scalps.
Nora just sort of nods back to Matthias, like she's got no interest at the moment. She is looking for witches.
Yeah, I asked the chat what the name of the inn is in this play in Boughs. So
nice. Yeah, I can be our viewer decision because we just hit one.
Oh, nice.
Okay. If she's not interested, then Matthias will probably stalk into town. Just have a snoop around before heading to a tavern.
Okay. In town, as you get there, you pass along the road warden camp, and you know, like I said, there's maybe 12 to 15 of them, all going about their late day activities. And as you pass by the camp on your way to Boughs, you start to hear a drumming, a rhythmic, slow drum beat with the occasional blast of a horn, like a sharp trumpet blast as well. And that's as you approach the gates to Boughs, that is what you hear going on.
Sounds like they're having a party.
Perhaps there's some festival in town, but Herr Scheumann did not alert us of any such thing.
I'm guessing you're not one for parties, Matthias.
The Festival of Sigmar. That I partake in on a daily basis, burning witches.
Well, have you not noticed when people tend to gather in groups, they have a little bit of a drink and their tongues get a bit looser than they normally would be? It's a good place for information.
Whose tongues are of no interest to me. I promise you that, Rat, but this may be your area of expertise.
I'll see what I can find out.
And I'll kind of give them a nod, and I'll see if anyone wants to come with me towards the drums.
Okay.
Nora would probably follow. Again, not necessarily right next to Rat, but if she could follow at a distance, maybe if there's a crowd, if she could stay like 2 people away from him.
Upwind is what you say.
I wasn't.
And Alera will seek out like a stables or whatever to put up her horse for the evening.
Okay. So let me understand this correctly. Groups kind of like milling about as they enter the village, not necessarily heading straight in. Alero is going to look for a place to put up a horse, where Rat and Nora are kind of getting a feel for what's going on as you enter the village. Do I have that right? What are Idris and Matthias up to? Are they hanging back?
He looks towards Idris. What you want to do?
I think Idris is kind of like looking out across the town, and perhaps we should wait. If they hear we've arrived, then things go into hiding very rapidly.
I agree. We are. It is very likely that if there is any chaos here, they might be expecting us. If they saw us along the road and have been watching our steps. Perhaps it is best we let Nora and the Rat proceed for a time and come in as backup if they need anything. In the meantime, perhaps we can take a look elsewhere. If there's a festival going on in towns, then there may be some places that are less well guarded than usual.
I agree.
Rat and Nora approach this large crowd. So it's a stereotypical village here. It's a large area that's enclosed in a wooden palisade. Most of the farms are on the outside of that, but people sort of live in the village for protection purposes. So there's a lot of small houses and workshops that are clustered around a central square with a rough-built platform on it. And there is a crowd of perhaps 70 or 80, mostly human individuals that have kind of created a circle around something in the middle, and there's some sort of performance maybe, or celebration, excuse me. That's where the drum beat's coming from, and the occasional high-pitched horn. And as you approach, you see this massive sort of stag-headed individual stride out from one of the buildings into the crowd. It's wearing a robe, and it goes down all the way, covers to the feet. Hands are not visible, and there's just this looks like just a massive stag with the antlers and the snout, and it towers over the surrounding villagers and sort of moving rhythmically, almost kind of dancing its way ritualistically towards the center of this circle. That is what Rat and Nora see.
Nora will probably glance over at Rat, like slightly alarmed, because this isn't something she necessarily has seen, maybe. But yeah, more is just a alert signal.
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine I'm kind of transfixed about seeing this kind of stag beast man thing walking forward. So what I'll do is kind of ease my way and try and push myself towards the center of wherever this gathering is, to try and get myself a bit of a better view.
Yeah, I kind of like to think that Rat is used to dealing with crowds of big folk, having lived in the city.
He's also very adept at kind of crawling on all fours, so getting between legs isn't an issue.
Rat sees, and of course Nora sees Rat go crawling through the mud of this, where all these people are. And Rat sees, gets a better view. There are two other people kneeling down in the circle. They have the same sort of dress on. There's a long brownish green robe, voluminous, that covers the hands and the feet and sort of obscures the body. There is an animal head that kind of comes covered in fur and with like ram's horns coming out of it. And the two of them are holding between them an infant that is wrapped in swaddling clothes and appears to be not crying, but you can see the kind of jerky, uncontrolled movements of a newborn babe in their arms. And the larger one, the stag-headed man, the crowd parts forward and is sort of chanting, and he's banging a staff on the ground as he walks, and he's heading straight for the infant held by these two beast-headed people.
Can Nora just find someone who's next to? She sort of shuffle, not a little bit further. Like, she's not polite. If she bumps into people and they fall over, they fall over. But she's just anyone who's closer is like, so What's all this about? She's very blunt. She doesn't know what's going on.
There's a look, and you, like a peasant, man looks down at you, and he just goes, and then spits on the ground at your feet and turns away from you.
Can I? Can I just sort of not pull him, but tap him fairly hard on the side and just be like, "Don't spit at me. I asked you a question."
He turns back. What do you want to know then?
Answer my question. What the hell's going on?
What do you think's going on?
I don't know. I wouldn't be asking you if I knew what was going on.
The child's a mutant, seeing if it's got the taint of chaos in its heart.
Right. Okay.
He just goes back. He just is already angry, right?
Checks out.
What you gonna do?
Rat's still there, just kind of mouth open, thinking this bar mitzvah's a bit weird.
Can I? Nora, can she work her way towards Rat at this point?
Yes, you can. You can kind of shove your way through. At this point, there's a crescendo that's reached, and everybody that's on the inner bit of this ring has started like clapping and stomping their feet, and there's this kind of like thrumming beat to the whole thing as the child starts to cry, becomes agitated, and starts screaming. The stag-headed beast person sort of like raising up its staff as he kind of is just shaking it and shouting in some language that you don't know, and then nothing. Puts the quarterstaff down, walks over to the child, places a rough-looking but human hand on its head, and then kneels down to it, and there's whispering between the three of them. All of this has been going on. We'll cut to everybody else real quick. You guys have heard the chanting, the clapping, the drum, the trumpet. Alero finds the Leaky Nip as the only inn in town, and there is indeed room at the stable, although you can't find anyone here who will help you.
Okay. Well, rather than nuzzling up to the Leaky Nip, she will just kind of... There's stables here, though?
There are stables here, yes.
Okay. She doesn't want to just leave her horse here, but...
I can't hear you.
What's all this commotion coming from behind her? She will turn around and start.
Yeah, stream's frozen.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, are we back? We also have a
Still
wild magic search to take
me.
care of, don't we?
Yeah, I think Alera's going.
Alero got a nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, Bessie.
I have a
Always
fan.
Alero hogging the spotlight.
I have a fan.
Everything is all froze up for me.
Yeah, except for me.
It's because our server is doing
Are
something.
we not
weird.
live anymore?
I think we're just frozen. I'm not sure if I can.
Yeah, we're frozen.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
still
looking
up
at the
as
live
live,
feed.
but frozen.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it looks like we probably will go down and then come back up. I'd imagine it'll fix it the old one. Okay.